All right, hey everybody, and welcome to the Multiverse Show, Season 4, Episode 8, the greatest show up. Thank you guys for tuning in to the show tonight. We got a kind of a long list of things we got to catch up on and get things stuff coming up. First off, let's do some of our introductions. First off, we have the Caesar Baron of Britain, Mr.
Hello, everybody. I am in Britain, in England, very close to where we're about to go into lockdown. So that's fun. Lockdown 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Right, and we have Don Delete, Mike Peter.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Mike. Been away for a little bit, had some things going on, but it feels wonderful to be back again on a Monday night. As always, we have a great set of topics planned for everybody tonight, so can't wait to get it started.
Right, so we also have the White Wolf, Mr. Samuel Toll.
Everyone, it is good to be back here. We've had some rough scrapes and bruises lately, some of us more than others, but it's all good. We got the bros here, so let's get the show on the road.
We also have the Druidic Diva, Miss Dollface FX.
Hi, everybody.
First and foremost, the question we ask every. What have you guys been playing? Dollface, will you kick off here?
Mostly since I got my Switch back, it's been Animal Crossing and a little bit of Super Mario Sunshine. Been pretty much going pretty hard with that.
Sam?
I've been playing a lot of stuff. I recently played the Dark Pictures anthology, Little Hope. It had some interesting ideas, some good atmosphere. I liked Man of Medan a little more, personally, overall, all things considered, so there's that. I've also been grinding through on Gears 5, trying to finish up all the skins and unlocks before the next operation starts with the next-gen console launch. So yeah, it's really just been those two games for me recently.
You know, I want to be honest, and I'm not sure if anybody else is in this boat, but I've barely touched my Xbox over the past few weeks because I know that I have games in my backlog that I want to play and that I want to start, but it's like the new consoles are here next week, and my feeling has just been well, am I really going to start these now when I know in a couple weeks they're just going to play better on the new Xbox? So I've kind of been like that boat. Xbox One, I have been playing NHL 21. I've also been playing a game called Yestermorrow. I'm going to have a review of that up on Level 1 Gaming towards the middle of this week. It's a really solid title, has a lot in common with the Ori games. But I mean, other than that, it's just been all Animal Crossing. That game probably, I know we still have a few other games left to launch this year, but I can tell you guys right now, that's probably going to be my game of the year. I have not been hooked by a game like this. I can't remember when.
All right, and I know I've been playing Watch Dogs Legion. I'm much more James's perspective on James. I know you've been playing Watch Dogs. I know you only played for an hour.
I mean, yeah. The other things I've been playing a lot of Apex. I've really got back into that. I haven't played it for a good couple months, but it's felt like a bicycle. I adore this game. It's my favorite battle royale game. Watch Dogs. Yeah, I picked it up yesterday, and I was only able to play it for about 90 minutes to 2 hours. And it's so weird because I've lived in London for 20 plus years. I know the city so well, and to see it replayed in a video game, it's just bizarre. There are some parts of it, all I did, but after that first mission where you have to get your first operator and then restart DedSec London, all I did was get in a car and drive around. That's all I did. And just go to different places and be like, that's right, that's wrong, that's right, that's wrong. And I've never really been able to do that. And I imagine this is what people in LA feel like when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. So that's nice. And maybe in New York for GTA 4 and stuff like that. London feels great. It just feels right. I haven't really had enough time to figure out anything about the game. I don't even have a proper opinion whether I like it or not. I just don't know. I didn't really play Watch Dogs or Watch Dogs 2, so I'm not really familiar with the gaming style, but I do love Ubisoft games, especially the Assassin's Creed franchise, so I shouldn't be too off the beaten track after a while. But I love the idea of Watch Dogs Legion. I remember being one of the most hyped about it when it first got announced, and I'm excited to get to grips with it. Yeah, so that's my Watch Dogs stuff.
I know I play.
Oh, and wait, very. They quit. I don't know if this is a personal slight to me. It probably isn't. Every time, the three major places I've lived in London over my time are all just outside the map, and so it means I can't go visit where I live, and I'm annoyed about it, but not really.
I mean, I've played. Well, I'm coming from the perspective of I have played Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs 2 felt like, okay, we're doing Watch Dogs 1, but we're going to give it more. And instead of treating Aiden Pierce, you feel like Marcus is an actual character. But it's really weird because it feels like they step back a little bit, like the character game in terms of how. Where like with Marcus, like if you went to a random person on the street, plot them, steal their money, threatening like a threatening text to them, you could do a couple different things to just any random person on. That was interesting. This one's a little different, where you can't really do that to just anybody. Like you can act almost and you can also recruit. The weird dynamic. Interesting, and like I understand, like if you have a certain types of people, you could do and they can interact certain types of ways. So I haven't gotten very far either. I'm actually about the same far. It's interesting though. I've been to London, but it's been a while. it's like, Trafalgar Square felt about right.
Oh yeah, no, like
the major stuff felt about right.
But they've got the tiny stuff really correct. Like they've got little newsagents, little corner shops. Yeah. I don't know what you would call them in America. Bodegas would be the closest thing. Delis. That stuff's all right. The advertising is all correct. They've done a weird thing with the underground where they've got some stations that are correct and some that aren't. So there is no Trafalgar Square tube stop. There's a Charing Cross tube stop, which is literally about 10 meters away from where the one is in the game. And I don't know why they did that, because they've got Brixton and that's real, and they've got Piccadilly Circus and that's in the right place, but some aren't. It's such a weird thing. I don't know why they've done it. I don't know.
There we go. Okay. So yeah, this is an interesting game. I gotta play more of it to really kind of get it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I've enjoyed my time with it. But it definitely comes off as more of like a Cyberpunk placeholder for me. Like, this'll do for another month. All right, so we want to get into like our first topic for the evening, and then we'll go into the movie a bit. So more of an update for everyone else who kind of realizes something happened last week, but we didn't have a show and didn't tell anybody. So this is more of an update of. So we've been talking on this show about COVID-19 for a while. I mean, talking about for forever. So last week in particular, actually about 2 weeks ago now, last Wednesday we found out that I had been exposed. Dollface FX also had been exposed. You're in the same situation, and it was a interesting time. So we kind of waited it out a little bit, developed a few. Last week, I had been diagnosed. I had a positive test, and it was been a very interesting time. So he's been following me on Twitter. Very upfront about what's been going on there. Trying to keep you guys in the. For me, my symptoms have been fairly mild. For Dollface, it's entirely different. I want to have Dollface on the show just so they can kind of explain kind of what they've been going. Dollface?
Hi, guys. It's been a lot. I got sick probably about 3 weeks ago, and I thought it was just a cold. And then the second week, it really got bad. And the whole entire time, normally around this time, I normally get like, I get allergies or I get really sick, and it's normally in the chest region anyways. But when I tell you COVID is not a joke, I kid you not. I had thought I was fine last week, and I had gotten nothing but worse. Coughing up blood, barely being able to breathe, wondering if I'm going to be able to breathe after I get done coughing. I've literally been just a bed potato because I can't go anywhere. I can't take my dogs out. I live in a trailer, so it's a long shot. Like everything's just a straight line, and I literally have to stop in my game room, get a breath about 20 minutes, and then go to my living room, sit down, get a breath about 20 minutes, and then get to the kitchen. And I can't even fix food. Literally, I've been on soup and apples for probably 2.5 weeks now. And I kid you not, I've lost like 15 pounds. It's not healthy to lose that much weight in that short period of time. Today, Anchor is my witness. I literally could not get just air for the life of me. Not enough to calm myself, as well as to get my brain to stop hurting from the lack of oxygen. So it's not fun. Though Pedialyte has been my best friend, and Campbell's chicken noodle soup has been also my best friend. When people on Facebook tell you, oh, it's a 99% chance you're gonna get cured. Yeah, eventually. It's really hard to get through people's minds that this is not a joke. Yeah, of course, our president had it or didn't have it or whatever conspiracy you believe. But some people out there are having a worse time than I am and don't have insurance. And to see people bicker on Facebook over my child's not gonna get to be in a mall Santa photo, or we can't do simple things like trick-or-treating in the comfort of our own homes, let alone have children come by the house of the costumes. It's all because we're trying to protect you from this. And me and my grandmother, I kid you not, have tried disinfecting and washing your hands. But if that one person outside thinks, oh yeah, I'm fine, I don't need to get tested, it all blows up. You're at risk. You get it to somebody else. It's just an explosion after that. So please, guys, wash your hands, wear your mask. Yes, I know you can't really tell who people are and you can't see things, but I'd rather have my glasses and have them fogged up and a mask than to go through this again. I will gladly take a kidney stone or something else than this. So please, protect your family, please.
And the main thing about this too is you can do all those things. Keep your mask on. It's also too hanging out with, like, in our case in particular, we got exposed to someone else. It doesn't even live around us. it got exposed. Like that's what happened to us. It was my roommates got exposed to the party by somebody else who, oh yeah, I was sick, but I was feeling better, and they decided to come to the party. So I mean, it's sometimes it's stuff that you just can't even control, and that sounds such a crazy thing, but also like too, like even just taking this out, my grandmother and my aunt both got exposed to COVID over. What happened in that case was that my aunt's a YMCA instructor, does a swim class for some guy had been sitting in on the class, had tested once earlier this month, had not been so he didn't test positive. They positive that Friday, but this guy's test result came to that. Bring a tiny little surprise thing for my aunt because they did a tiny little surprise thing for her. That sat down in front of my grandmother and just started coughing and sneezing. And yeah, so then you got the test results 2 hours later.
I would like to also add that if you have to be tested, please stay home. If you get tested, do you get those results? Please don't put anybody else at risk. Please don't. And communicate with your family. If you have symptoms, you need to tell your family immediately. Because it's just gonna be a snowball effect.
That's what we want to let you guys know happened. That's happened suddenly on what we. Guys, just be careful. Be careful.
Yeah.
Keep your circles. Keep your circles small and close. And we're like-minded doing this. Thank you, guys. So we're gonna start talking. Do our movie corner with James. James, what's on the docket for this evening?
Yeah, love following that. Cool. I'm kidding, of course. Horror. I'm British. We can't deal with this. We make jokes and weird scenarios like this. Movie corner. No real movies have come out other than Host, which I mentioned a couple weeks ago in Spooktober. That got a cinema release, and it scared the living crap out of most of our guests because they didn't know what to expect. Recommend again, if you want to sign up for Shudder for the free trial and watch Host, do it. It's one of the best films of the year and easily the best horror film of the year. But the main thing I'm going to talk about today is a Netflix series, a Netflix miniseries called The Queen's Gambit. The Queen's Gambit is based on a book of the same name by a writer who I can't remember the name of. It is about a chess female prodigy. The series stars Anya Taylor-Joy, who most of you will know as Casey from Split and Glass, and of course we know her as the lead in The Witch. One of the podcast's favorite films. I think officially our second favorite film, something like that. Sam?
I need to do the math again. I need to listen back to it, but that sounds right to me. Like it is one we agree.
Really high.
Yeah, it's up there. It's darn good up there, and for good reason.
Hell yeah. So Anya has continued her form of acting. It's very late here. She's fantastic in this. She plays a person who grew up as an orphan in an orphanage and learnt chess from the janitor in the basement. And just out of nowhere, she has this unbelievable aptitude for it. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't really want to watch a TV show about chess. And I can't agree with you more. It doesn't sound very exciting at all. Most of us know how to play chess, but no one really knows beyond the basics of how to move and maybe how to think maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead. But the way that these people and her, the way they talk about chess, it's similar to how we talk about like the intricacies of something like a Valve game, something that's so perfect that it just works in every way you think about it. And, you know, chess is one of the oldest games that exist. and it's just so the passion on display from everything. I don't even understand half the things that are happening most of the time, but I find myself engrossed by everything. The editing of this, the color scheme, it's all set in the early to mid 60s. So the someone of Anya's distinctive face fits that art style and clothing style, fashion style, so well. The set design, the costume design is so amazing in the show. The best thing I can say is just watch it and you'll understand. In the similar way, the best analogy I can give is, as someone who knows and cares for nothing about baseball, Moneyball is one of my favorite films about sports, because it showed the people who love the sport so much, and they explain why they love it and why people should love it, as opposed to just a famous story from it. The way that people talk about chess will make you fall in love, and you'll fall in love with them about chess. The Queen's Gambit is one of the best Netflix miniseries of the year. It's only 7 episodes. They're all 45 minutes to 50 minutes long. It's outstanding. Give it a watch. There we go.
I appreciate that. It has been, on my radar, so to speak, ever since I saw the advertisement for it. But after that, I am bumping it up a space or 5. Thank you, James.
Very obvious that the person who is the cinematographer is also, I think, in love with Anya Taylor-Joy, because she... I know I don't want to sound really pervy like this, but like, she is so attractive in this. It feels like this role was entirely made for her. Like, the way that she will just look at the camera and will just instantly make you fall in love with her. It's unbelievable. I haven't seen such a captivating screen presence in a long time. This is proof that she might be one of the next great Hollywood stars.
Nice.
All right, so next little topic we're going to discuss for the evening. So we got a couple things we got to catch up on. Probably I would say the biggest news. We got an announcement that Cyberpunk 2077 is getting another delay. They're delaying out of November, going to December 10th, 2020. So we'll ask the same question we asked last time there was. Bother any of you at all?
So, I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. I mean, you always hope that whenever there's a delay, that said delay will improve the quality of the game. But with that being said, I do have a question, because I thought about this and I couldn't recall. Has there been a time where a game has received a delay after it's gone gold?
It
This is
has
a very
happened,
strange situation.
happened twice. The one game I remember was Army of Two. Army of Two went gold and got delayed. If I recall, it was a long delay than a month. but yeah, there's another game.
Was, if I remember correctly, it was from November 2007 to March 2008, right? That was
I think that's
Army
right.
of Two.
Yeah.
There have been others. Like, they have happened. It is very rare, though, Mike. You are correct. It's incredibly rare. Usually, it doesn't have to do with what's going on here, which is the game is content complete. Like, the game on the disc is done, in quotation marks, but their CEO, Badowski, I believe, flat out came out on an investor call and said, look, we're trying to make it a good experience on the base PS4 and the base Xbox One. It plays fine on the next-gen systems, plays fine on a high-end PC. It's we're still trying to get it there on the base console. So, you can imagine you don't want to be playing this thing on a 2013 Xbox One or PS4. You just don't. That's how it is. To answer your question, Ivan, I am still interested. This is not... Okay, I'll be honest, the journalistic side of me is actually totally okay with this, because it means I don't have to cover Demon Souls and Miles Morales and Valhalla in the same week as Cyberpunk. So actually, like, in that sense, I'm like, oh, thank God, there's some stress relief here. There's a God. The main thing that is more irritating to me is there's no way you didn't see this delay coming. All right, that's my issue, CD Projekt Red. I understand the pandemic has thrown a monkey wrench into the gears of everything, okay? I want to make it very clear. I get that. The delay from April to September did not surprise me at all. No questions asked, that's fine. But I think if they look in their heart of hearts, there's no way they didn't know in September they wouldn't be able to finish the game in November. That's my issue. I think back in September, when they delayed it to November, they should have instead gone, okay, no, we're just going to delay it to December. I think that would have gone over smoother. And just to be blunt, they should have told the employees that. Because I have verified from multiple people I know, multiple sources I have. If you weren't the CEO or like the top 3 designers and the creative director, you found out about this when Twitter found out. And that's not cool as far as I'm concerned. It's just, I don't want to get into everything else regarding the game because we've talked about that before, how I don't agree necessarily with a lot of the discussion around it. But on that aspect, like, no, come on, you have to treat your developers with more respect than that. That's my spiel.
I personally, I agree with Mike. You know, every time we have to brace the fact that a game is being delayed, we hope that in this delay they can make it even more of a success than it was when they decided to delay it. But for me personally, I'm already on a Cyberpunk kick. I'm literally watching Altered Carbon on Netflix right now because I'm already ready. I'm ready to experience this new game on a new console. But at the same time, I'm okay with waiting just for the simple fact of, yes, this gives them a little bit more improvement. But with what Sam said, I wouldn't want to work for a company and find out via Twitter that it's being delayed again. That's just not fair.
My position on this is the same as it was before, because I'm not really planning to get one of the next-gen consoles until maybe March of next year, so I was always going to play it then. So there we go.
Good enough.
I know for me, as a general rule, for this before, when it comes to delays, everybody gets one. And one only. COVID, I bent that rule. Everybody gets 2 delays just because. But Cyberpunk, you're on your 3rd. The penalty of this is mainly I don't really have any hype for it anymore. I mean, I'm still gonna get it. I just don't have any anticipation for it. Kind of like, all right, I basically act like your game doesn't exist when it comes out. I'm just kind of like, all right, we are.
Honestly, I mean, you know, being able to do all these cool things that are going to be able to, you know, when the game launches, change your gender or whatever. If I can't have a shotgun as a private part, then no, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be mad simply because, come on now. It's out there. We've said this, probably in September. This has been a meme since September. If it doesn't happen, come on. Please, just this one thing. I will wait. I'll give you to Christmas. That's it. That's it. Then I'm canceling my pre-order.
I want to go around like Sex Machine from dusk till dawn, doing thrusts and shotgun blasts. Bam!
Austin Powers. Do. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun. I'm excited. Anything else you want to add before we go into the next stuff?
Nope.
All right.
Nah, it's just a shame.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just a shame.
So, we're gonna talk about next gen. So next gen is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. We're right here. We're at the precipice. We're right ready to go. It is right here. Practically taste it. Literally 1 week from tomorrow, the Xbox Series X launches. Already here, baby.
And we're preparing for it on the Multiverse Show because next week we're having our Game of the Generation special. Oh!
Yep. We're going to do our Game of the Generation because that will be the last official day of the generation.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited. I don't know about you guys.
That one's going to be fun. We're going to have to go along for that.
Oh, sure.
Definitely.
No question.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, no.
Absolutely,
we go until we stop. We go
and
until stop.
And I'm sure that we'll all agree with each other, and all of our opinions will be correct and right.
Yep.
There will definitely not be any arguing, yelling, screaming, insulting of grandfathers twice removed, anything of the sort.
So
all I want is for us to agree that we all like the same game, and then we all put it in the same spot.
I think the only thing
what would happen if we all agreed that we all liked the same thing, and then inexplicably it came second one year? That would be crazy.
We need to make a rule going the next week that Nick can only vote up Horizon Zero Dawn once. Because every single time we have this discussion, Nick sits there and he goes, well, I really don't like Horizon Zero Dawn that much. But then when push comes to shove, he keeps voting it up. So he's going to be able to do that once.
It is good.
I think you guys are going to need a referee.
Oh, it's going to be bad.
But no,
You've already voted for it.
That should solve the problem.
All right. We will save that for next week. You can already tell it's going to be fun.
So real quick. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to a new console or a new anything, that fresh technology smell, you know what I'm talking about? You can smell it and it smells good. And then I'm probably the only person that's obsessed with the peely things. But do I have a problem? Because I've literally had my 4K TV for probably 5 months and still haven't pulled the peely thing off, because then it won't be new anymore. I'm probably going to do that with my Xbox. I'm going to sniff it a few times and then set it down.
Oh, I totally understand where you're coming from. I could totally see myself next week when I get home from Best Buy or GameStop, wherever, and I crack open that new Xbox. I don't know if you guys in here watch Flossie Carter on YouTube, but I could definitely see myself going to, this one smells like next gen.
Oh my gosh. A lot of my friends are telling me, because they work at GameStop, that you're going to have to camp out. And I'm like, yo, I'm about to just say, I still got COVID. If you're trying to get in front of me, I'm going to cough on you.
I actually got the day off next Tuesday. I actually was able to get the day off. So I really don't feel like camping out. But since Microsoft wouldn't let me pre-order one, I really don't have much of a choice. So
yeah. I think this is the only one that I've literally been ready for. I has my money. I has my money right here, right now. Where you at, Xbox? I has it right here in my hand. Where's normally I wait probably about 6 months to a year before upgrading, but no, I got my 4K TV. I'm ready. Let's go.
So here's a weird situation that a lot of British gamers find themselves in, because we're going into lockdown on Thursday. That is a thing that's happening.
Oh.
So, how do those people go and collect the consoles that they've pre-ordered at physical game stores?
Actually, I saw an answer for that. So they
yes. I will get into that. The answer is that inexplicably they will be able to go to a physical store and pick up the game that they have pre-ordered. I don't think they're accepting any more pre-orders at the moment, but for those who have already done it, they can go. So that's great for them, that they get the thing that they paid their money for, 100%.
Yeah.
Is it good that they're technically breaking the law to do it? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's tough.
That is not the consumer's fault. So,
Right.
At the end of the day, that is the case. It's you pay the money, you get the thing, which is fair.
So yeah, we're gonna wrap up the conversation regarding the show for next week. For real quick, because the people on Spotify and the other groups are not familiar with this. I have uploaded a couple past episodes. If you are interested in checking that out on there. So what we do is at the end of the year, we normally do our Game of the Year show. We've been doing this since the show started back in 2015. We've been doing this for quite a long time. What we do is we do a battle royale system, where all the we each nominate about 3 to 5 games at a time. compile a master list, and we go individually and say which one doesn't deserve to be on the list, and we eliminate them until we create a group of 10 from there.
It's so toxic.
Oh, it's terrible. We had whole things where people just
Awful.
rage quit. Like, what was it? Last year was, like, I think, the worst year we've ever had.
Yeah.
Where it was, we got down to the point where we refused to let, was it,
Resi 2.
yeah, Resident Evil, like, get at a certain point, so it was between me and Fame making a deadlock, preventing it from winning. We just, like, I remember Nick being so pissed off. Oh my gosh, it was. It's.
He wasn't alone.
Oh yeah.
No, he wasn't alone.
It had the majority. It had the majority vote and win. Explain
See how alternate history facts are already being implemented.
I'm in a group of Americans who live with the Electoral College. That's how that works.
Yeah.
If I can't get political the day before the election, when can I get political?
Oh no! This is the time to do it. This is the time to do it.
This one, for reference too. The particular rule of thumb with this one is the games had to have come out at the beginning of the launch and up until next week. So, like, they have to be playable on the last gen hardware before next gen available content is available. I thought about it for a while. You can include cross-gen games, although it's frowned upon, but you can technically include them. Fish. But yeah.
Just for disclosure, what that means, all you dear listeners, is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Cyberpunk 2077. Even though those are cross-gen games, we're going to count them as part of the next generation. Is how that's going to work. By contrast, stuff for this generation, like Titanfall, The Wolf Among Us, stuff like that, it was cross-generation, but it was cross-generation.
The key thing
somewhere.
is,
so that's
the key thing is this has to be all the games that launched have to be available on the most next gen console hardware possible. That was kind of the idea, because we're talking about defining a generation. I have not decided if we're going to allow 3 or 5 nominees just yet. I'm leaning more towards 5 because I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of crossover in some of those games, and I want to make sure we get a pretty wide range of titles available. So count on 5. I might cut down to 3.
I don't know about you guys. I've got a long list of about 25.
Oh, same. I've already done the
Same.
list twice
Same.
just to see if there's any variants in the list.
Yeah, the same.
The only variant I had was to make my number 1 even more number 1.
Anyway, it should be a very interesting time for us to watch. All right, so we're gonna get things moving on with the next topic there. So we also had a little bit of news that came out last week as well. Well, really over the week. So for those of you that don't know, PlayStation 5 is going to be having backwards compatibility with PlayStation only. They aren't really doing anything prior to that generation. But there was a couple weird caveats that came in place. There was a lot of confusion over the summer as to like what games, how many. At first they said only 100 games, and they said no, only 100 are getting updated. And then it was like, oh well, actually there's all the PlayStation games. Now they've stated there's only 10 games that are not going to be available on backwards compatibility. Mostly games nobody cares about. Now the part that gets kind of strange is Ubisoft. So I believe on that original list of 10 games, only like 2 games were considered. Only 2 games in particular were considered not backwards compatible. But Ubisoft came out and basically announced 9 games from their personal category that are not backwards compatible on PlayStation 5. Now a little bit of backstory. Ubisoft also came back out and said that like there wasn't backwards compatibility a couple months ago, or like they weren't gonna be doing anything like that. And PlayStation said, no, we're doing backwards compatibility with Ubisoft games. But then like there's been a little bit of a history between PlayStation and Ubisoft lately, so it's not like the first time this has happened. For PlayStation, how do I best? Right now, with them, they have a certain classifications, different types of games that are backwards compatible. There are games that are fully backwards compatible, have no problems whatsoever. Then there are games that they consider bootable. Then there are games that they say are not backwards compatible at all. All the games that Ubisoft lists that they said are not backwards compatible are games that PlayStation has listed, like that you can boot up the game and you can play it to a certain extent. Problems with it's interesting because Ubisoft is saying those games are not backwards compatible at all, but PlayStation is saying they are. It's at least a bit of confusion there as to, specifically speaking, which games are actually playable and what does boot just mean. Oh yeah, we're able to get to the load screen. Are there different levels where like it works for the part, barring a couple glitches, or are we saying that like, okay, well, like one of them only get to the home screen and that's it? Like, we don't know. And for me, there's a lot of confusion there, and more than just the Ubisoft games, but it's mostly just. I kind of want to get your feeling for the rest of the group. Does this kind of like shake your faith in backwards compatibility, so to speak, or issue? I'm trying to get an idea from the group. I will start with Sam. How do you feel about this?
I think some software-wise, this is not an insult. I really don't mean this is an insult, but it's clear that Microsoft has valued backward compatibility more than Sony. So I think Sony's side of things is just coming in a little more hot, or a lot more hot, as the case may be. Now, Ubisoft obviously did pull this list of 9 games, so they said there were issues with their web, but it begs the question of why it went up in the first place. My personal suspicion, and I don't have any hard proof or anything, is that Ubisoft and Sony have different definitions of what backwards compatible means. Sony means, will it boot up? Does it run? Okay, fine, whatever. And then I think Ubisoft means, hey, are there any glitches in here caused as a result of, the process not being quite right or whatever? If so, maybe we should warn people off from buying these games until they're fixed. That is personal theory. I want to emphasize that. I don't have proof. Is this something they could fix down the line? Sure, probably. Why is it only these 9 Ubisoft games and no other publishers have come out and said anything? Doesn't really make any sense to me, but there you go. Is there more to this than, I have a lot of mixed thoughts, but I definitely think there are some software features maybe coming in hot, and it could even be something like those 9 games aren't backward compatible right now, but by the time the PS5 releases, they will be. Like, I actually think that is a possibility as well, for sure. It could be something like that.
I mean, it's just so bizarre because, Ubisoft have been such a trustworthy company and have had never any controversy of any kind. So for this to come out, it's just bizarre.
Mike, I'm really interested in your position on this.
Wait, me?
Oh, no, Mike, actually.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I haven't heard Mike say anything about this at all on Twitter. I really have no idea where he's going to come in on this.
So, I mean, kind of going off what Sam was saying, I mean, you could definitely tell that Microsoft values backwards compatibility more than Sony does. I think they've proven that over the course of this generation, and especially going into next generation. And especially now that we're starting a new gen, this is the time where, in my opinion, backwards compatibility is most important, because the launch lineups are a little bit thinner at this point. So you're still kind of getting mileage out of your older games now, but being able to play them better on newer hardware. A lot of people move on from their old consoles. I think it's really interesting, this distinction that they're making, where this choice of words, where we're talking about, is the game bootable? Like, my thing would be, I really don't care if the game is bootable or not. I care if the game is playable, because yeah, technically Microsoft Flight Simulator is bootable on my Surface tablet, but that shit ain't playable. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's just a really odd situation. I don't know if anything more is to come by this. It is a really odd situation though. Like, why? Like, whatever the reason is, if it's on Ubisoft's end, if it's on Sony's end, if it's on both, like, why is there an issue with these specific games? I just don't understand it. The other thing that I'll add to that is that I don't think it looks good for future backwards compatibility on the PS5, which is funny to me because Sony has such a vast legacy library of games going back to their older consoles, but I just don't see them making backwards compatibility a thing beyond the PS4 generation with this console.
I'm okay with that, because like the really good stuff from PS1, PS2, and PS3 has either been remade or remastered and is available for PS4. So like, for anything beyond that, I'm alright. I'm good.
All right. Dollface, where are you kind of on this? Like that, I know you want to get a PlayStation 5 eventually. I kind of want to know where you sit on this. Is want to get, because you didn't get to really play a lot of PlayStation 4 games this generation.
Mm-hmm.
Question at all, or no?
It needs to be, like, for me, definitely, I agree with Mike. Like, yeah, there needs to be some kind of differentiation between bootable, meaning, okay, can you get to the load screen, load your data, and it work? Or is it going to be like, okay, yeah, you're playing the game, and out of nowhere it just shuts down? Or, you know, it closes out, or you fall through the world, because that's totally a thing. Nothing frustrates me more than to have something like that happen. And I know, you know, we're going to have bugs, we're going to have issues and stuff, but at least be honest and you know, give us a guideline or some kind of key guide as to what's going to happen with if I boot this game, or if I boot Senran Kagura on my PS5. Is it going to work, or is it going to glitch out? Like, I really think that they should definitely tell us, hey, this is what we mean by that. Instead of just saying, hey, yeah, it's bootable. What does that even mean? Like, really, what does that mean?
I take that just as it'll get to the title screen. Like, because that's like a complete boot up process. Like, gets to the splash screen and gets to the title screen. The game booted up. Fine.
But that's, yeah, and I get that. But at the same time, if y'all are only doing that, who's to say the actual game's going to work?
Oh, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's stupid.
What if I told you a game you actually care about is on that?
What game do I care about?
Senran Kagura.
What was that?
Senran Kagura.
Senran Kagura? Okay. Well, still, like, is the jiggle physics going to be the best or not? If the jiggle physics are not the best, then I'm going to stay with my PS4, where I know it works.
All right.
For those who don't know that, yeah, it's a game. It's a ninja game with boobs. Let's just be honest. The jiggle physics matter to me.
Cool.
So,
I want to add just another thing very quickly. For a lot of people who buy these consoles, probably the majority of the people who buy these consoles, they do not care about backwards compatibility because they either are new to gaming or they're getting it because they want an entertainment thing in their living room and will never, ever touch backwards compatibility. backwards compatibility is a thing that we all quite like, but none of us use as much as we want to. So it's a weird feature that can never really go away because there's such public outcry for it. But also, it's not. It isn't. They don't sell as well as people think that they do, and people don't play them as often as they play newer games. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
I think you're right to an extent.
I totally agree. But for me, yes, LA Noire went like completely to every single console, but oh Jesus, having to have those discs was not fair. So if I could play that on a newer generation and not have to have those discs, hey, that's great. Or one disc, just one freaking disc, that'd be great. You know, that's an improvement for me because, I mean, it's an open world game and I like mysteries and I'm always trying to beat my time to solve all the mysteries in a certain time limit. But, you know, that is a thing. You know, it's mostly just us, like the older generations that are going to want that ability because a lot of kids are just playing, you know, the newer stuff, Fortnite, obviously. They're not really caring about, oh yeah, I can play Kingdom Hearts, you know, Birth by Sleep on PS5. They're not going to really care about that unless they're like a hardcore fan. So yeah, there's going to be a demand for it, but at the same time, I agree with you, James, that I don't think that it's really going to be all about that ever.
Yeah. Also, I didn't even mention that because the PlayStation has a version that you can't get discs for, so that version of that console, backwards compatibility is impossible. So no wonder it's a bit surprising whether some might work or might not. They're building two infrastructures for two different kinds of markets. Cut them some slack.
I know for me, I'm kind of like, I agree with you normally that it's like backwards compatibility it's not as big of a deal for like the mass general market, but I'm looking at it this way, at least specifically on Xbox. Picking up a game and the game opening up as like, oh yeah, here's the emulator for 360. Like for me, I'm kind of like, whatever. Like I really have to love that game to go back and play it, or like be actually trying to go play that. But it is always a great option to have. For example, I had never played Mass Effect before for this generation. I got to play it because there was backwards compatibility. I wanted to play it before Andromeda came out, and I got to play Mass Effect 2 beat both of those, or thanks to backwards compatibility with 360 but I did. I want to make sure that, especially in the future, if there's a thing, I think it's going to be a little different than before going forward. I'm talking, next gen and like the gen after that and such, where it's not going to be like this whole big fight or issue with the last generation games. There's going to be games that kind of like on PC, like you don't think of games in terms of generation. It's just an older game, or kind of how you think about it. And I think it's going to be more along those lines, because especially there are good games that are out there. Like I've been playing the Mafia series. I finished Mafia 2 just a couple days ago. Like they're fun games, and it's not worth completing. But I think it's just something we're going to look at a little bit. Going. Last thing I want to talk about before we wrap things up for the. There was a topic that came out a couple weeks ago. Sam, do you want to give a little background to this? Who the guy was? About the Stadia guy, streamer rights thing.
Wait, we didn't. Wait, wow, we didn't cover that on here? Jeez.
No.
Okay, wow, I'm sorry. My sense of time here is way out of whack.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Short version here. A lot of people mistakenly assume that Alex Hutchinson, that's his name, was the creative director of Google Stadia. No, that's not the case. He's the creative director of a small studio that's part of Stadia Games and Entertainment. Typhoon Games. They're the ones who made Journey to the Savage Planet. They're mostly ex-Ubisoft Quebec staff and ex-Ubisoft Montreal. So anyways, just to be clear here, he's not the head of Stadia or anything like that. Jade Raymond is the head of Google Stadia Games and Entertainment. Anyways, he made the interesting comment that there's going to come a time when streamers need to realize that, when they're playing games and they're streaming them and making money off of it, that they have to purchase their own stuff. That was eyebrow raising. But then he made the comment of, really, they need to be purchasing these games as a business license, something ongoing. To say that it brought down the wrath of the entire industry, quote tweeting and dunking, would not do it justice. I have not seen a brutal Twitter beatdown like that in a while. So I want to be very clear with what I say next here. There's a difference between the legal and the ethical implications of it. Legally, I've talked to a couple of lawyers, and he actually kind of has a point. Streaming games is one of these things that no developer or publisher has dared pursue it because of the benefits they get from it. Legally speaking, there is something to what he's saying, but no one cares. In fact, companies go out of their way to pay big money to streamers to stream games in order to, promote their games and stuff like that. Ethically speaking, I think personally this is a terrible stance to take. That's just how I see it. That's just the way it is. What do you guys think?
I think I'm actually on the side of the dude from Google to a degree.
Okay.
I don't think that there should be a blanket fee for if you want to stream this game, you have to pay us X amount of dollars, whatever it is. I do think if you are a big streamer, I think it should base on the audience. Basically, if you're a streamer, you should be sending a bit of sending more money to a developer than a streamer that has a very small amount of followers that wouldn't be benefiting from. I think you guys just understand what I'm trying to say. It's a taxing thing. It's based on the amount of revenue you're generating. Some more of that will go to the people who made it. I think that is probably the best way to go about it in the long run. Especially if you're someone like PewDiePie or Ninja, and you've got all those amount of followers, and you end up streaming a game like What Remains of Edith Finch, and Giant Sparrow or Annapurna Interactive didn't send you that game. You're doing it off your own back. It's exposure for the game, but also there's a lot of people who will watch that stream and then never play the game themselves because they just saw it being played and they thought, well, that's good enough. And that is lost revenue. So I think there is a middle ground to be had here. Am I saying that all streamers should pay every developer of every game they ever play? No. But I think there's a middle ground.
I know I personally, I'm kind of I lean more toward that creative director because I think it's true that some games, yeah, they do really benefit from being on Twitch and stuff. Among Us is a perfect example of that. That game's 2 years old. One person started streaming it, basically reignited that whole game. Made it a social phenomenon. That's amazing. That's something that's the fact that it was being streamed. Now, there are other games that those don't really benefit from it at all, especially games that are more story focused and called one and done games. There's just no reason to play any of those games if they come out with a frame or hype behind it. People feel comfortable just watching it and be done with it. I've talked to dozens of people. Total epic. Yeah, I watched that game online. I don't need to play it. Done.
Just piggybacking off the back of that for 1 second, I think those types of games that get uploaded onto YouTube as a full movie, That's really not cool.
Okay,
Continue with what you're saying, Anchor.
Yeah, no, now I have to jump in and cut him off. I do think there's something to be said about games being uploaded as movies like that. No, I don't mean Let's Plays or even guides that are streamed. I mean, like, just, oh, here's the game, 6-hour story uploaded. There is something to be said about that, for sure. But, again, I don't think that comes into streaming because that's a very dangerous, slippery slope. Okay, Ivan, you can have it back now.
Sure. So, for me, when I look at it, I don't think that's something that you actually, as the streamer, should have to worry. I think that's an unfair thing. There's too much management you have to worry about. It's too much work getting involved there. I don't think that's like, okay, imagine like, okay, I don't know. I'm gonna pick a studio at random. Hangar 13. So Hangar 13, it makes the Mafia series. Those are story games. Those don't really have a lot of options, at least in terms of how the story turns out. And the game is known for the story itself. You could watch that on whatever, and should Hangar 13 have to like police all of Twitch to find every single person who's streaming this game? No. It should be a very easy thing to do, to find out. So I think instead of having to manage all these licenses, I think it should actually just be based on whoever the platform is. So, they use Twitch as an example. So let's say Sam has 100,000 subscribers on Twitch. Doing great. Gets a lot of views. And he wants to stream Mafia 3. So he goes out and streams Mafia 3. Let's say James wants to stream Mafia 3 and he's got 2 subscribers. Those are drastically different things. And there's a drastically different levels of. Do I think James should have to worry about like paying a licensing fee so he could in order to stream the game? No, like his 2 subscribers is not that big a deal. Not many lost. But do I think Sam should have to pay something? Yeah, I think he should be able to contribute something towards it. But I don't think it's Hangar 13 shouldn't have to go to Sam and like issue a cease and desist and go through that whole process thing. Or give me money, buy a license. I think they should just go through instead and say, hey, look, Amazon, you own Twitch. We need a cut. And so buy the license so you could, like, other people could stream this game on your platform.
Okay, so I was going to push back on you. You were saying this should be on Amazon's shoulders then, basically.
I think it should be on whoever the platform holder. Because the platform holder is the one who benefits the most.
And so in this case, Amazon when it comes to streaming for Twitch, and then it would be Google for YouTube and all that.
Yep. Wherever you're streaming it to, go to the platform holder. The platform holder pays something.
That's a little different.
Yep.
I kind of get what you're saying here.
But here's the difference, though. Let's say Mafia 4 comes out next year. Probably not, but Mafia 4 comes out next year. Hangar 13 says, hey, all right, Twitch, if you want to be able to stream this or you have all your people stream Mafia 4, you need to pay us $1 million. It's $1 million for licensing fee. Anybody who wants to game on your platform. So that says people who are unpartnered or are not making any money off of Twitch would have an advantage. Because to them, they're not making money anyway. And if people really want to watch that game and really do that, then they'll just watch those people. And they'll be like, all right, cool, it's fine. But they're going to have to work for it. It's not going to be their favorite streamer. But let's say, Sam, let's say you want to stream Mafia. Amazon says, no, we're not paying that license. You could stream that game, but it can't be monetized. You have no financial incentive to stream that game. You're not going to be making any money off.
So are you saying that like donations should be blocked even? I don't mean like money from ads or whatever.
No, but you'd say money from ads in this.
Okay. Right. Yeah, it's when you talk about the platform holder, you raise an interesting point I hadn't considered. I'll freely admit that. I just think again, even with your model, I'll re-emphasize this. This is a world where companies pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to big streamers to promote their multiplayer games. Right now, it feels like the industry collectively agrees the benefits outweigh the negatives. What happens if that balance is removed and it becomes a chaotic, nightmarish free-for-all? I just think that has to be considered here.
If a company wants to do that, say, hey, we think it's free publicity, we want people to keep doing that, they say, okay, give the license for free. License included for free. No problems. But if someone wants to do that route, hey, that's up to them. If they want to have that route, that should be in place for them to.
I mean, basically, we need Rockstar to come out and do it for it to become industry standard.
Yeah, Rockstar would be like, yeah, next GTA, Amazon, we want screw it, $1 billion. Give us $1 billion so you can stream our game.
You're not going to hear me shedding any tears when Bezos' bottom line gets hit. Okay, so you're just not. Like, I'm totally fine with that. Same when it comes to Google.
So something like that. Like I look at it as that's the only model that we could actually keep track of and allow for competition to actually succeed. Sure. It would give a boost to other to low-level streamers who don't have a lot of followers, because they'd be streaming games that they can't make money on anyway. If people really want to watch that game, they're going to watch them. If you're a big streamer and you need to make X amount of money in order to keep the rent going for the next month, you're not going to be wasting out your time and money on a game that's not going to make you as much money as a different game. That's like if you say, okay, like you're making $1,000 per stream, you can make $1,000, or you can make $600 in donations. Play a new game, make less money or more money. You pick. That's my little. Dollface, I know you're a streamer. What are your thoughts on this? I don't know if you can hear us or not.
Honestly, I do believe that, Twitch should have to pay if they really want, because okay, coming from my perspective, it's harder to get people interested in a game if, at like 8 o'clock, everybody in the whole entire world, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, everybody's on. It's really hard to captivate those people and bring them to, you, the person that only has like 20 followers or 20 subscribers. And it's hard. And for those lesser people like I don't feel I should have to pay for that, For me as a streamer, I'm not playing a game to get you to go out and buy the game or go out and play it for yourself or anything like that. I'm here to talk to you about your day. And if you want to watch me play this game and completely, most of the time, suck at it, pause many times because I'm scared half to death, then yeah, totally. I'm totally okay with that. But like, it's really hard for me to wanna still continue streaming if that's gonna happen to the lesser people. Because literally, I don't do this to make a profit. I just do it to play a game. Sometimes you can join the game and just talk, just talk. So in that same aspect or in that same view, one of my most favorite games made by Rockstar, which I'm going to bring up again, is L.A. Noire. And if it wasn't for Toby Turner playing it and making episodes on it, I would have not even thought about grabbing that game to begin with, to even try to play that game. So yeah, on like YouTube, it's totally okay for people to be like, upload their commentary with the video game. But I feel like people that are just going to play the whole game in 6 hours should definitely have to pay for that. Like, hey, if you're going to play the game and not comment on it, or at least split it up enough to where people have to continuously come back, then I feel like they should have to pay, if that makes sense. But I literally can't have a standpoint on it because I'm not influencing you to buy this game or to want to play this game for yourself. I'm just here to entertain you and to have fun and to be there when you don't have somebody, especially those third shift people, because that's normally the people that are on and are watching while I stream. I'm just there to talk and to just entertain. I'm not there to influence anybody. That's not why I stream. So I really can't say if that makes sense.
Right. No, I totally get where you're coming from. And I think my concern with this is because there is so much gray area. Now, full admission, I am not a streamer, so I might be off base with this. But if the publishers pass the buck on to the platform holders, Amazon, Google, whoever, to pay these licensing fees to stream a particular game, my concern with that is, will said platform holders now somehow try to figure out a way to pass those costs on to the streamers and on to the viewers? Would be my concern with that model.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Mike. Like that, and with you as well, Bellface. Like it just, I'm not trying to cut you off, Mike. I'm just agreeing with like you're opening a whole can of worms here.
Right. So
definitely.
So my thing is, it kind of sets a precedent. So if Activision tells Amazon, Black Ops Cold War, it's right around the corner. If your people on Twitch want to play this game, you need to pay us a licensing fee of $2 million. So you know that these fees, it's not going to be an insignificant sum of money. Like it's going to be a lot of money, these licensing fees. At that point, will Amazon then say, okay, fine. If you want to do that, then in order to stream Call of Duty or view a Call of Duty stream, well, now you need to be a Twitch Prime member because they got to recoup some of those costs. You know what I mean? Like, will they lock that behind a paywall at that point?
I think that would be very interesting because then that will happen. It will be like, okay, cool. Want to stream this game where you're losing money and losing audience? Or to watch somebody else free. I think that's the question. There is it opens up an opportunity available. It also answers the question ultimately of, do people come to watch this stream for the game? They watch it for the streamer. Because if they come for the streamer, they'll pay any amount of money to watch that. And that will answer that question.
I think by and large, it's absolutely the streamer.
I think it depends on the situation too, though. You brought up a really good example earlier where you have two different people. You have somebody like PewDiePie or Ninja with millions and millions of subscribers, and then you might have somebody that only has 5 or 10 subscribers. So I think it depends on the game, and I think it depends on the streamer. So I'm going to go back to the example of Call of Duty because it's a very popular game that's streamed. It's probably still the biggest game that's out there right now. So if you have somebody like Ninja streaming the new Call of Duty, Call of Duty has more to gain by that because Ninja has these millions of subscribers, and somebody is going to has easy access to that, and they'll see that and say like, wow, the multiplayer, the new Call of Duty looks dope, I'm going to buy it. At the same time, there's hype in the Call of Duty community around when these games launch. People want to see that new gameplay, and so when people are searching for that gameplay, searching for those streams, they could discover somebody that maybe only has 5 to 10 subscribers, but they carry themselves really well on the stream. They do a very good job at it. People notice that, and then they start to increase their views and increase their subscribership. So in that case, it's almost as if the streamer is benefiting from the game. Does that make sense? I think it depends on the scenario.
Here's something that actually just happened. This story is actually breaking right now. So apparently Twitch is now targeting viewers using ad blocker with more ads. So what?
Because they know it'll drain performance, right?
Yeah.
It'll tank your performance
that's
if you're
saying. So what's happening is like so a couple people actually pointed this out. It's getting a lot of traction right now. Says they have an ad and particular says thanks for watching. Maybe using a third-party tool or browser extending impacting site performance. For the best Twitch experience, head over to twitch.com and support the stream. Party tools wise. Basically what they're doing is now they're saying, well, we want more money from you. We're going to bother you by having these ads running. They're having in-video ads run every 10 minutes. Ad block. Can't block those. Interrupt you the entire time. They want you to see the in-browser ads. Sort of force you that way instead of asking you. Anyway. That just happened, and that's what we were talking about earlier. So it's like, all right, here you go.
Appreciate you bringing that up. Again, this goes back to the whole thing Mike was saying, and Danielle, I think, to an extent, too. Is Amazon going to just absorb a cost graciously?
No.
I think not. I don't think so. They could easily without it hurting their bottom line, but they won't. So, and that's the can of worms you're getting into here. It is a very interesting discussion, for sure.
Can of worms, not just a Disney movie.
All right, so I think we're going to wrap things up here. Remember to tune in next week in particular for our Game of the Generation show. Probably going to go longer than an hour and a half. Give you a heads up now. Probably going to be fun. And for that, stay tuned on Twitter for any updates. Let's do our outros. We'll start with our guest for the evening, Dollface FX. Where can the good people find you, ma'am?
You can find me on Twitter if you want to chat or whatever. I do give out sometimes, depending on who you are, my Nintendo, what is that, Social Security number. So, if you want to hang out, the Social Security number. It's something else I have to remember. Anyways, but if you want to just talk about anything cute, not cute, gory, I'm into gore. I don't care. Just hit me up. I'm really tired of being in this bed and not being able to talk to people one-on-one.
Right, and Mike?
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in for another great episode of the Multiverse Show. Thank you for tuning in. You can check me out on Twitter at The Truth of Mike P. You could also check out what I write on Level 1 Gaming at lv1gaming.com.
All right, James?
Yep, I'm on the tweets at James_S Wilson. Come talk to me about all the wrestling. We're heading into Survivor Series. Hell yeah, it's a great time to be alive. And on Instagram at James S. Wilson with 2 S's and 2 L's in a bunch of different places. You'll find it, you clever people.
All right, and Sam?
You can find me on Twitter at Samuel Tolbert. That's TOLBERT. You can find everything I'm writing over at Windows Central, Android Central, and iMore. God rest my soul this month. Cannot wait for our next gen discussions, and as time rolls on, and also just the arguing over this gen's games. It's going to be good. I cannot wait. I'm salivating.
Oh, and very, very importantly, go and vote.
Yes. Seriously, go and vote. It's one of the last vestiges of the idea that you have rights as a citizen to express yourself. Make your voice heard. Go vote.
Also, I forgot to say, I probably won't be on Twitter. You'll have to message me, inbox me, hit me in the DMs, because I'm going to try to stay off. I'm so tired of political ads.
Oh, man.
But, you
Hey,
you got to make that choice.
After tomorrow, that should all stop.
I know, right?
One more day. One more painstaking.
Ivan, don't give the impression that politics will stop after Tuesday.
But
that makes you sound
will.
very
the ads will. I'm tired of seeing this stupid little elephant that's dancing and doing the floss and
Really?
mailing in his ballot. And I'm like, cool, awesome, bye.
That's the ad you're
Is
getting?
the elephant Democrat or Republican? I keep forgetting.
That's Republican.
The elephant
Okay.
is Republican.
Republican,
Why are
and
their logos
that's not even my
animals?
party.
Why?
Long story.
History.
Okay, I'm not getting into
Long
it.
story, I'll tell you later. Yeah, like all the ads I'm getting for, because I live in North Carolina, are about Tom Tillis and Kyle Cunningham. Oh man, I'm so tired of hearing those.
Joke.
All right, so we're gonna wrap things up here. Remember, go vote tomorrow. Let your voice be heard. Oh, sorry, no, we do the fame impression. Let your voice be heard. Go vote. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Multiverse Show. We'll upload this on Spotify tomorrow. It should be a blast. Thank you guys for tuning in to the greatest show on Mondays, and we are out of here.